I honestly believe there hasn't been a more despicable, hated British Prime Minister than Keir Starmer. I really don't. And I remember Gordon Brown. I just simply couldn't take to Gordon Brown, and God knows I tried. I remember meeting him in Downing Street during an event, and Tony Blair was Prime Minister at the time. And even then, you could feel the guy just dripped with insincerity. And you got this feeling that he really didn't care about anyone other than himself and his warped socialist ideology. I really didn't like Gordon Brown. I really, really, really didn't like him. But this guy, I mean, after just 2 months, what else can I say? I mean, good God. So he made a, well, long awaited speech this morning, and it was just horrific. He's doubled down, basically. He simply can't grasp the mood of the nation. I mean, the only people who could possibly support him now are brain dead, hardcore Labour voters. And he just flip-flops. I mean, first of all, they tell us that the fault of all these riots and protests were on Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage, and now he's blamed the Tories. And he reckons because the Tories embraced, and I quote, snake oil populism, whatever the hell that means, and just tore into the populace. That's what he did. He said that these riots didn't happen in a vacuum. He reckons they exposed the state of our country, revealed a deeply unhealthy society and cracks in our foundations laid bare, weakened by a decade of division and decline, infected by a spiral of populism that fed off cycles of failure of the last government. Now, this is what he said. What I've just read to you is from his speech, and my goodness, how is it a deeply unhealthy society for normal, decent, working class people to feel that they have to take to the streets and protest at the obvious two-tier policing and justice system, plus that other big massive elephant in the room that politicians like Keir Starmer and others simply won't address: mass immigration. And of course, I've acknowledged these protests were hijacked by people who used them as an excuse to attack the police and cause trouble. But you can't simply label the concerned parents and citizens, British taxpayers, who don't normally do this kind of thing yet felt compelled to have their voices heard, and just label them all as populist, snake oil drinking lunatics, which they're not. And to me, the snake oil problem is refusing to acknowledge it or do anything about it or pretend that it's not there. The Tories did it, and now Labour are doing it under Keir Starmer. They have thrown this veil over the massive problems facing this country and telling us it's not a problem when it is. In fact, it's not snake oil they're peddling, it's sheer ignorance. I mean, when this guy's done in office and his government, this country's going to be on its arse, even more so than it is today. He has taken away the winter fuel allowance from the pensioners and given it to Zelensky, given it to housing illegal migrants, or irregular migrants now, as Keir Starmer labels them, and to protect a certain demographic's place of worship. Not to mention the billions he's spent on overseas climate emergency, or climate alarmism, as I like to call it. This guy promised over 50 times not to raise the taxes on working class people, and he's doing it. He's raising taxes to pay for all these woke vanity projects. So he'll tax us into beggary and buggery to pay for all this, and when the money's gone, and I really hope, I beg the people not to vote the Tories in, because the Tories will simply cut everything to pay it all back. He doubled down on the pay rises for the public sector and basically giving the unions far more power. And the last time the unions had this much power, look what happened to us at the end of the 70s. Look it up, you're not stupid. I mean, this was a horrific speech from a deluded, ignorant fella, completely out of touch with his own people, who has effectively doubled down on his regime's ideology. It's crazy. What I got from this speech was, this guy's right, everyone else is wrong, it's the Tories' fault, and things are going to get worse. I mean, it's not promising, is it? Now, Gordon Brown had, 2 to 3 years before he was booted out by the people, and rightly so. I know David Cameron wasn't much better, but I couldn't wait to see the back of that guy. But this guy's got a whole term left. We are literally just 2 months into his regime's government, and all I can say is God help us all. And there we go. I'm Paz49. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you at the next one. Roger Trout.